conference will now be recorded.
Great. Call the meeting to order. Here we go. Stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Sure. The Lord, as we gather this day to do the important business for the people of the grant us wisdom and passion.
Amen. All right, first item, as always, is public comment. Bruce.
Okay, hi, Bruce Nelson. So I just want to stop by, express my interest. My company is very interested in helping out with the arts park installation. We submitted a proposal and we spent quite a bit of time on it. Anyways, why I'm here is it's been a real struggle with the communication. We tried the email thing that is supposed to go on to a log. That's never happened. We requested to be advised to when the bid opening was. That never happened. We requested copies of the other proposals that were promised would be available. That never happened. We requested a meeting until just now, like 2 hours ago. I guess we got an email saying that we got a Zoom meeting. I'm not much of a Zoomer, but I'd rather sit down with somebody and talk to them.
Right.
But anyways, I'm here to say I'd like to be involved in this and help out, but we got to get some communication going. And that's really all I got to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know your firm did move on to the next round. Anybody like to tell you that?
Yeah, no, I know. We were one of the four, and that's why we're trying to get to the next step, because,
Yeah.
you know, the time, we only got the 27th, right?
Right.
We got a lot of work to do, and this doesn't just happen, you know? And we do have other business to attend to, but that's not your problem, but, we're trying to chase it down and, get, start some communication so we know the direction. Because it's kind of hard in some sense. We feel like we're kind of shooting in the dark a little bit.
Right.
But, so that's it.
Sure. I think Terry has, she's on the committee.
Oh, okay.
I can help
I'm
with
on the art
stuff, too.
committee, and I just wondered, there were some things that we asked for. Did you receive that information?
Well, all the things you asked for on the original proposal, we did.
Okay, this
Right,
was.
we got the letter
Okay.
that said, these other things, but that hinges on how we adjust our design, because in the letter it's asking us to revise our design. But I'd like to, we
Okay,
need to sit down and talk, like, what are you thinking? Okay, we don't like the Owego thing. We want to see the pit. Before we were told, well, we want something kind of like a fence, so not to see the pit. So, we're looking at trying to figure out which is the best way to go with this, that's all.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it possible to,
I mean, I don't have a problem having
right.
I'm just,
I was
Yeah.
thinking,
I mean, when did you receive notification of the award?
It was supposed to be the second, I think we got the final one on the 7th.
are you available on Friday, like 1 o'clock?
Friday is not the best day for it, I can make myself available.
Okay. I'm just usually here on Fridays.
Oh, yeah,
We can maybe
Friday,
sort
1
out
o'clock.
what's going on.
Yeah, I would like that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, we know there's a short period of time to get stuff done, so I
Well, right,
understand
we
your
got this,
frustration.
so we just gotta get talking about it, that's all.
Yeah.
yes. Very good.
At least figure out what's going on then.
Yeah, okay. So I will leave you guys to your business. Thank you. for
Thank you.
Thank you.
hearing me, and we'll see you Friday at 1. Perfect, okay.
No, Bruce, you have to stay till 11.
Yeah, right.
Stay till 11.
Stay till midnight.
A long day.
I'm assuming we have no other public comment. So we have our invited guests. I'm going to skip to Stephen for the digital sign because I think you're going to be wicked easy. Oh, you're
It
muted.
might be. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
So, our attorney has a question.
Oh, yes. Do you know which district you're in? Zoning district?
I did not hear that.
Do you know which zoning district you're in?
I'm fairly confident that that's a commercial
Yeah, we
district.
Look at that right
Yeah. Because you're on the, I'm going to say the east side of Route 96, right?
It would be the east side. It's a piece of property that's owned by a group out of Secaucus, New Jersey. They go under an LLC, 400 Property LLC.
So that's all business zoned over there. So the village code only prohibits like flat, it doesn't expressly address digital signs per se. It talks about the
We found the entire thing from East Ave all the way to, all the way to Dean Street is beyond. There's business on that side.
So we prohibit flashing illuminated signs in residential districts, but we don't prohibit those in business districts and business and industrial. So we think just looking at least very briefly what you're proposing, it seems like it would be allowed as an allowed use, and it would need site plan approval, which would go to
Okay.
the planning board, not the.
To the planning board? Okay.
Right.
So would that be the next course of action? Just fill out a site plan application and appear in front of the planning board?
Yeah, it should be. You know, now I haven't talked with the code office other than very briefly on, I think, Friday about it.
Yep.
And I think maybe they didn't have the full picture of what the code said. And I didn't look at it myself at the time, but talking with the mayor was like, oh, wait a second, where is this? And it's like, oh, business. Seems like it'd be an allowed use, so.
Our last big digital sign fiasco was in a residential area, so that's what made it a fiasco.
There may be a size limitation even in business, I don't recall.
Well, we allow billboards in business districts. So I don't recall it.
If I can add to it as well, the one thing that we would like to do with that specific location, because it technically would be a conversion, is we'd like to make it almost like a gateway sign into the village, where I believe there was an artist rendering of what that sign might look like, where it would welcome people to the village of Owego. And at the same time, we would open up that specific sign for the village to have use of it if they needed to promote specific events, current events, events that go on in the village, events that might require some sort of emergency notification, which can happen relatively quickly with a sign like that. So that was one of the things that we wanted to make sure that you were aware that we wanted to make as an offer.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly appreciated. You know, it's just, you'll just have to look at I think it's section 195-114.
Yep.
B, or it's in B, for the size restrictions, and if you need a variance, you know, of course, apply to the ZBA for that.
Yep. So I can get in touch with Mick Knapp tomorrow and kind of go over this with him.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, you were right. I was going to be quick.
It's 11.
Mayor,
Yes,
is that next to Earl and Judy Hartman's property?
that's across the
That's
street.
their driveway, is it not?
And that's across the street, like on the Quickville side.
Yeah, that's where
that is
they're-
Earl's side.
Oh, it's right there.
That'll be an issue. for
Yes, it's
the-
before Earl's
Will
property.
that,
Fran, it's before Earl's property, going towards Owego.
I know, that's
Oh,
his,
that's what
their
you're-
driveway right
Yeah.
there. So I'm saying, I mean, what kind of hours will that sign be lit up?
So Fran, it's not the village board's decision at this point. It'll go to the
All right.
planning board, and there'll be if Earl comes to the meeting, I'm sure he'll have some opinions about no digital sign going in there, but that's for the planning board to review.
Okay. I'm good. Thank you very much.
Okay. So now, we get to, let's see, fight it out. Pat, or Connor's fight it
Hi. Yeah, well,
out. Look at
I
Pat. She's
hard to bear. Well, you asked me to come every year and tell you what we've got in mind with the historical legal marketplace. And I sent out a flyer with the 5 events that will need some village approval. And the next one, of course, is Strawberry Fest, which is the 18th, 19th, and 20th. And so, and then after that, it's the Porch Fest and Halloween, and then 2 holiday events, you know, with the last one being Lights on the River. We are adding a couple of what we call flower crawls, but they don't require any road closures or anything like that. So I just wanted your approval, and I made out parade permits for all the events that require the police to be involved. And of course, the Strawberry Fest and Lights on the River require DOT for closures of the road. It's pretty much the same as last year.
Right.
Do you have any questions, or you want me to elaborate?
Porch Fest and Halloween Fest just want to close Lake Street.
Yeah, just Lake Street. Right. And the holiday showcase is just an escort for the horse and
Right.
carriage. There's no closures there.
And then the other, the Strawberry Fest, I mean, they're all the same, but, you know, they close more. As far as streets, Strawberry Fest and Lights on the River, they close
Yeah.
more of that area. The usual streets. Got all the dates.
Any idea if this is gonna coincide with the school again this year, or?
Uh,
I believe it will, yeah,
I mean, that was
That
a
was,
nightmare last year.
on the Friday night event.
which wasn't really your issue, but yeah.
But it seemed to work last year, and
I've heard very negative things about it last year.
oh, you did,
It's
about from home and from and what?
As far as people trying to get through town to
Oh.
the graduation event, and
Yeah,
I don't think it was necessarily the safest thing for all the traffic, but I'm not in control of traffic patterns, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't
Graduation is.
Could there be detour signs put up to get to high school?
And that was,
So
I
we're
thought,
not trying to go across the Fourth Street Bridge, and
you
I
mean
mean, that's
reroute
something to
traffic?
talk about with the school, probably, but.
The school tried to have it, you know, in the afternoon, but that didn't meet with
Right.
parents' needs, so it's back on the evening. But I haven't verified it, but they told us last year it would conflict again this year, and then after that it won't. So
yeah, I don't remember why they had.
something
graduation.
about the regions, or something about something changed, where they had to do it that way.
But it was always like the week after.
As it always used to be, you know, the week after Strawberry Festival.
When is it back on Father's Day? It's back on Father's Day again? Because last year it wasn't.
So this year Father's Day's falls a little later.
You know, that's the 20, Father's Day is the 21st. So yeah, you're back on Father's Day weekend again.
Yeah. And we don't think we can have it earlier. We want to have strawberries, and we can't have it later, I don't think. It's kind of a small window we have. But the school is being very cooperative and trying to do things, so I think the some specifics that we could do, we would.
The weekend before would be like the 12th and 13th. And the weekend after is the 26th and 27th.
Where you, same weekend might split the attendance. I don't know how it did last year. Because I was not there.
I think it did pretty well last year. Right, did you see Friday night last year drop off because of,
I think it might have been a little bit less, but it was still huge, you
it was maybe more manageable actually.
know. Yeah, maybe. And I think we got a crowd came in later for the fireworks.
Yeah, maybe.
In some ways, it gives them an extra event going on, you know, for graduation weekend for people coming from out of town.
Yeah, and I
But it
know
also, people are limited, you know, where they can stay and so forth.
the school didn't necessarily take my suggestion either, because I suggested to multiple people on the school board to utilize the fire police to direct people in and out of town over Erie Street and away
Yeah.
from the Strawberry Festival.
Well, maybe you could chat with them then.
Yeah, maybe I need to.
Yeah.
I talked to multiple of them on the board last year and said, you guys don't use the fire police. Why don't we use them to direct people in and out,
Yeah, I mean.
away from the festival?
That would be very good.
A lot of pedestrian traffic.
Do you communicate with the school very much?
Sometimes. I will try and make that happen more this year.
Okay,
It's gonna
I
be
mean,
an
if they
issue.
want to meet, you know, we're happy to meet with them.
Questions I do have, it seems to be growing every year. At what point are we gonna have to come up with another idea where we're gonna outgrow our limits?
I'm not sure it is growing. I think it's about.
You're telling me it's the same size it was 40 years ago? I don't buy
Yeah, I mean, the vendors is limited. We have the same number of vendors pretty much, but it depends on the weather, you know,
We
weather
don't
related.
know how the weather will act. I understand weather oriented. I'm just wondering if sometime in the future, 10, 15 years, whatever it may be, should we utilize Marvin Park for part of this?
Yeah.
Because our village is only so big.
What would be the solution?
Marvin Park for part of it, what I think would be the only solution to keep it within the village, but still workable, where we could kind of meld the two sections together. I mean, that's just down the road, because eventually, like, it seems to be growing, seems to be popular with people, and we only want to keep people safe.
Yeah, true.
Just food for thought.
Yeah, something probably depend on the weather. If you get a nice day, you get a ton of people here, and if you don't, nobody.
Whatever that year when it was like 38 rain.
I know.
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Pat, can you give me some time? I don't have time on here. So Friday, what's the time frame?
Let's see here. Didn't I write it on those sheets?
I don't see it here.
Oh, you might put it in the email thing.
Well, Friday, it goes from 5 to 9, Friday night.
5 to 9 Friday.
And then Saturday is from 8 to 5.
Okay,
And then Thursdays at the Hickories.
that's,
And Thursdays at the Hickories, that's an evening thing, but that doesn't really affect downtown.
Right.
Very much.
so we're having it from 5 to 9. I'm just trying to remember this because, when do we close the streets on Friday?
I think we try to close them, I think around 2 o'clock, so that the vendors can get in.
Which is it?
2.
Thank you. I'm sorry. No, around 2 is 2 o'clock. Okay, close at 2. And whatever time we close on Saturday morning, pretty
Early.
6 o'clock is
Yeah,
when
6,
the police are out there directing
Right.
traffic.
Thank you.
And Saturday is more, you're closing off more streets to form the parade.
Yeah, the parade's at 9:30,
And then all those streets open.
it goes till about 11. And this year might be bigger because of the 250th year this year,
Yes.
so it would be a lot more. Yeah, in fact, this is our logo this year.
Oh, cool. Oh.
Sweet Liberty.
Kind of tied it together.
Strawberries in there.
Nice.
So,
Somebody was talking about a July 4th thing. Have they asked you guys about that yet?
I can't hear what you're saying.
There was another, forget who it was, talking to me about a July 4th.
Well,
Festival or
the seller people,
John Whittemore
John and
was interested in
Stephanie,
something.
they want to do a July 4th
Right.
thing, but they're thinking of doing it like in August rather than July 4th because it'd be so close, to Strawberryfest. But I haven't heard.
It would be like. 2
And
weeks later.
they need to do it soon because they've got to book the fireworks.
Right.
Because fireworks are at a premium this year.
I didn't know if they were like talking to you guys or.
Initially they did, and we told them we'd help, we'd close, make sure the stores were open, whatever you wanted to do, but I haven't been able to touch base with them lately, but
Okay.
I will.
Well, the fair is what, the first week in August?
Second week, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know. I just heard that as sort of a gossipy thing. I don't
Oh, yeah.
really know.
I mean, if they're looking for August, that may be another thing that's
Oh, the
happening.
fair, yeah.
Another thing that what?
That happens like as far as on the calendar.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. But that wouldn't be an HOM event. We would just assist with it. We're not sponsoring.
Okay. Yes, their own deal, but yes, it would, if they did July 4th, it would be like 2 weeks after.
I mean, it'd be too close, yeah, right.
Well, it could be, second or third week in July, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I'll try and get a hold of them this week. They're hard to catch.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in the last couple of weeks either.
They're pretty busy people, but they're certainly very generous to our village.
Saturday this year.
It is, and it's 250 of the year. That would be something.
So you guys should have a float, should be in the parade, village board should be in the parade this year.
If I might, I want to ask Ron something. So the Halloween Fest, is that, how has that been working out? Is that working out well for the merchants on Lake Street? Okay with that? They're in
I think
it?
so. I mean, we close and give out free cotton candy,
Yeah.
but
It's a lot of
I
free
haven't
stuff.
heard any.
So, yeah, that's all, because you're one, so I'm trying to find out if that's still
I haven't
working
heard
pretty well.
anything negative about it. I think people really enjoy it. We get a good amount of people down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the families like it.
A lot of small stores.
I wanted to know, I know those people, I wanted to know about the merchants. That's why I'm asking Ron about that.
It's another weather dependent.
Oh,
That's true. It can be
It could be snowing.
winter
it could
coats and
be-
Halloween costumes. And the same, I wasn't able to go to Porch Fest last year because I was running a concession stand, but how'd that go?
Yeah, it was very good, yeah.
Last year was interesting though.
Big crowd.
None of the stores knew the street was going to be closed. So I think communication on that's got to be a little better. I mean,
I can't.
I was on the board and I had no idea. If I came on in April,
Yeah, so it already come through.
What were you saying about Porch Fest?
a lot of the store owners didn't realize that Lake Street was going to be closed. It was kind of a surprise last minute, but I was only appointed in April, so I wasn't here for the actual.
Well, probably for this meeting.
I couldn't remember whether or not.
Be
it was or
informed.
not.
But we do need to do better.
Okay.
Yeah, with the merchants.
No, other than that, I mean, it went well, business was fine.
Yeah.
Other than the street closure, which was hard for like pickups and stuff, but people
Yeah.
found us.
Yeah, it is on a Sunday, which, it makes it a little bit less busy.
We purposely I'll have that on Sunday so that it doesn't interfere with business, et cetera, et cetera.
So 10-4. I'm sure I'll be cooking for a football game that Sunday. That's how it works every year it happens.
Lots going on.
I'd love to go to Porch Fest, so I like.
Yeah. Well, it goes on for quite a while, I don't know, like
I was there all
4 or
day.
5 hours,
Come over to the football field, it's
Okay. Can't do it all, right?
8 in the morning until 7 at night.
So I do have a piece of curiosity. I don't care, but I just, Halloween being on Saturday on the 31st, but we want to have it the week ahead of time. We don't want to have it the
Well,
day
there's so
before.
much goes on the Friday. The Boys and Girls Club and all those people all have their events. So we thought we should do
On the Friday,
on the Friday.
right before it.
Yeah. So we thought we better
Yeah.
stick with the week before to do our event.
I know a lot of people felt split. Like, they would try to hit Lake Street and still go to the Boys and Girls Club. And
Yeah. Yeah,
There's definitely no shortage of candies for
I
kids in
know, it's a
October.
little bit overdone.
I was trying to think,
Get our sugar high.
so the new thing is now that trunk or treat thing with the town. I talked to Gary, and he said that they're gonna do it not on Halloween this coming year, because it kind of conflicted with our fire department doing their trunk or treat and the candy check. I think they're gonna maybe do it the week before.
You could do it along with this, maybe.
Right, it may line up with you guys.
Yeah, I think it.
It's finding interesting when people ask when Halloween is. What do you mean, it's the whole month?
It's always the 31st. That's
I mean, they start putting the Halloween stuff out at the store 3 months ahead.
That's
It's the
true.
second, it's the second biggest, it's the second biggest, money-making holiday.
For the dentist or the candy company?
Yeah.
Big
All right.
deal.
Times pretty good.
So we're asking the important questions and stuff, and I'm waiting till most of that or all of that gets done to do my tiny gripe that I have. And I've done it for 4 or 5 years, and I'm upset about it because every year I get, oh, this will be taken care of, don't you worry about it.
What are we talking about?
Walk down Lake Street and tell me if there are pieces of orange and yellow tape all along the curb today on Lake Street.
We do use them over and over. For different events. I mean, we use
No,
them for
no,
Halloween.
no, what you do is, after the Strawberry Festival is, you take them out there. And I've asked the other people 3, 4 years in a row to do that. And every time I get said, oh, yes, we'll take them out of there. And then 2 years later, they're there. I could take them out of there, but I'm not gonna because I've asked that thing to be done because it looks like crap. And so I've asked that to be taken care of. When you get the committee to come in and they put those things down and they work hard and they volunteer and they put the numbers on them and everything. And the day or the week after Strawberry Festival, I expect those to be gone. And they're never gone. And no, it's not okay to leave them there because you might use them next year for something. No, that's not okay. That makes our village look like crap.
We use them for Halloween, Porch House, and lights on the roof.
Then
We do something more permanent?
I don't want to put
I guess we don't want
things
them
on
to
the
look
curb.
crappy, but we can try and take them off.
Yeah, I mean, I was told by Wendy 3 times, oh, we'll take them off, absolutely, gonna go, oh, yeah, take them off. Nobody ever takes them off. I'm just telling you, it's a gripe I have.
Okay.
I go up and down North Avenue in the summer taking weeds out on all of North Avenue so that the village doesn't look like crap. It just annoys me that they're still there. I would like that not to happen again. It's a little bitty thing, but I would like those not to be sitting on the.
Right, we'll bring it up.
And I see you have the scouts for the trash for the Strawberry Festival.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
I think it's that Dirt Valley, but we haven't approached them yet, so I don't have a firm.
Okay.
It's that very active group that goes all over and does everything. They're really
Right.
great.
Yeah.
But it's a big job and it's very exhausting, and every year we say, oh, you
I know.
really want to do this. So we
I
haven't
don't have to
approached
go
them,
straight from the bar.
but I can provide your name if you need it.
When we get there.
So the last piece of mine, I don't expect you to bring it up. I expect you to do it. I expect not here in the middle of the winter. I expect in April, those things to be gone. I don't expect somebody to be out here in zero weather taking those pieces of crap out of there. But I expect somebody to do this, not bring it up and say, maybe we'll do it or we're thinking about doing it. I expect that to get done. I expect it to get done before the Strawberry Festival. And then you can put all your new stuff out for the Strawberry Festival. And when it's over, take it away. That's what I expect.
I don't know
If I'm being unreasonable, some of
Is that a
them,
requirement?
kinda.
I mean, can we just leave them now until Strawberry Fest and then we'll take them off?
I think what you could use that would be easier.
It's just a duct
Stick
tape.
long enough for the events, or do we have the vendors pull them up when they're done? As part of their contract, I don't know.
Well, kind of hard to get their trash out of there, they remind you.
Removing the debris at the end of the festival in some timely manner would be a good idea.
Pardon me?
Removing the debris after the festival in some kind of timely manner,
Okay.
you know,
And you consider the duct tape debris, right?
Yeah.
The next
Yeah.
event is until October 4th. Second stretch. And I'm sure, I mean, I don't know how hard it is to put those things down, how you measure, what you.
No, it isn't hard, but you know, you get, so they're there and you know where this, you don't have to measure, you have to measure, you know,
Yeah.
and get them in front of certain stores and so forth, and so it's kind of handy to have them all right there.
But they're not all right there. There's, on North Avenue, there's 4, but usually there's 20. But there's 4 still there. And so it's not like you've left, oh, they were pretty good and you left them all right there and we can just use them again. No, it looks crappy. I don't want the village to look crappy.
There's
Ones that
There's some washable chalk sprays that you can use on driveways that'll last through a couple of rains and then they're gone. Maybe something like
That's a
that
thought.
could be a good option.
What was that now?
Like a washable chalk spray, because I've used something like that
Oh,
before.
I see, I mean, you could put the number down.
Yes,
Right.
and you would just stand there and spray paint, because it's like a spray paint can, and then do it, and then it washes
Okay.
away after a couple of rains. Would something like that be preferable?
Yeah,
I mean,
That might be okay, but plastic, not spray paint, it's gonna still be there.
No,
You
no, no,
want
it's
something to
it's
be
a
gone.
washable spray chalk paint. So.
Now, that would be great.
I'll mention it to Katie, she's pretty clever at that.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
that
would be
might be a
something-
good
that would be something
option.
we could appreciate.
I know they generally put on a good 4 or 5 days before the Strawberry Fest. So you'd want something, I mean, unless you can get monsoon.
Yeah, we try to do it, you know, 4 or 5 days.
Pretty close
ahead.
to it.
Right. But yeah,
You want something's gonna stick around for a little bit, but.
right, but then it would be gone.
Wash away.
But that might be a good option and it's not
That's a
too
great
difficult
idea.
to do, yeah.
Last piece for me. I would appreciate it if after winter breaks, April, 2 months before summer hustle, your crew get out and take those pieces of tape off of there. Not wait, can't we wait till Strawberry Festival? No, because I don't want us to wait 5 more months with that crack there. I don't want us to do that. I don't like it there. I want it to be taken care of. I would appreciate that if your gang would get rid of those when the weather breaks. That's my opinion.
Say, if this is the only complaint, I think they're doing pretty darn good.
Oh, me too. And this is, I said, I've waited to, this is a little thing, but I don't like our village looking like that. And actually, I like us to do other things better in our downtown for our village, all of us. I would like every business, this is not you, I'd like every business owner to take care of the front of their store and
That's a good idea.
and weeds and all of it. I say I would do the whole side of North Avenue because nobody's going to do it, but I would like everybody to do that. That's how I want our village to look. And that's how I think everybody else wants our village to look.
That's called pride, Rusty.
Yeah.
All right, but do we have any issues with any of the events? I mean, obviously it's not final approval, but dates and so they can move forward with planning.
Okay, what do we have to do to get final approval?
So like Strawberry Fest, we're gonna have to have the whole plan,
Okay,
the safety plan and all that kind of stuff.
can we just do that through the police department?
We're gonna have to approve it.
So this isn't the parade permit, that doesn't do it.
Correct.
So many times you have Jeff Winchell help you with that plan, except that Jeff is no longer affiliated
Yeah,
with the
he's going
village.
to help us.
It's fine, but he's no longer affiliated with the village. So if he comes up with something for you, it has to then go to our police department because he's not part of that anymore.
Well,
And
he does, helps us with the DOT.
sure, and that's all, but the plan itself is,
The one issue we
we're
had
gonna
last
need to have that.
Did you have an issue?
It was not really an issue, but a little issue that, like Jeff did the plan, which was great, but he's not part of our police department,
Yeah.
so. it was
Well, I
just
think
him
the,
doing the
I
plan,
think
and
the
he
chief
never-
signed up on it.
Yeah, he
I
never,
think
like,
he and Uda do
completely
it together.
Communicated,
That didn't get,
so we gotta
Communicated
fix
somewhere.
that, because he's not actually our employee.
So what would you prefer?
Just the same thing, but we gotta make sure that it syncs up and
Okay,
everybody
All right.
knows what's going on.
sure.
I would prefer that you talk to the police chief, you or whoever's going to
Have
do
you
it.
ever tried to talk to the police chief? I tried to make appointments with the police chief and he's never available.
But,
Sorry.
but I just still prefer that
So I
you
go
or
through-
someone talks to the
I go
police chief.
through Uda.
Well, that's probably workable, but it needs to get to him because he's the,
Yeah,
Well, in
he's,
charge.
he's usually quite cooperative.
so that's the kind of a final approval things that we asked you, we did this last time. We gave you tentative approval and then we asked you to come back, a couple of, so now it's 5 months. We asked you to come back as you're getting closer so we can put all the details, the final details, make sure we got everything.
Yeah, because that big, I mean, like Strawberry Fest, that big plan is what spells out everything.
Yeah. And I never realized we could do the DOT permit like a month or two ahead. I thought we always had to do it like within it, but we could do the DOT permit tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
But the mass gathering permit is another story.
Right.
And we don't have, we have new people doing that.
Right. And that's a big one as far as.
Yeah, it's a big one, yeah.
all the stuff goes.
There's a lot of details. Anyway, we'll do our best, I guess.
And are you gonna, do you think you're gonna need one of those Friday, did we get one Friday night last year? So, part 400, 500, whatever it is. Over 5,000 people thing, where we have to have EMS and doctors and,
Yeah, that's part of the mass gathering. We do it for Friday and Saturday.
okay. I know for a while we only did it for Saturday.
No, we do it together, 2 days. We have to have a doctor on call.
Yeah,
Usually it's Keith Nichols.
it's a whole thing.
There's a lot of requirements.
So, as we said, those are, say, oh, so we got it all done, or those are the things that we want.
Yeah.
As it gets closer, we want to make sure that, each one of those things, that we check those lists off. So that's why we asked you to come back and get that final
Yeah.
on this.
Fireworks
You mean
permit.
like a month ahead or something?
Yeah, just not a week ahead or something, so it's too late.
Yeah, but we just need your approval so we can go ahead. I mean, we've already started planning and Wendy's getting the committee together and we're starting to get sponsors. So, we just need to make sure you guys are okay with that.
Make a motion.
Do we need to vote on this?
Yeah. Yeah,
Terry, give us a
I'd like
proposition.
to make a motion for Strawberry Fest, Friday, June 19th, Saturday, June 20th, with stuff on the 18th at the Hickory's Park.
I'll second that.
and that's through.
Yeah, we don't have to vote
Approve
on
the
that.
parade permit.
That doesn't.
Approve the parade permit, and so on and so forth.
Do you want to give approval for the possible dates for all the events for the year?
Well, we will, we got all the parade.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we've seen them
oh,
separate,
okay.
yeah, sorry.
No, that's quite all right. Wasn't quite sure how you were doing it.
So tentative approval for the wine tent
The
with,
wine
with
tent.
all the regular stipulations.
Correct.
And then
And
Same with the
permission for the
fireworks
fireworks.
with the proper permits and stipulations.
Right, the parade permit.
Right.
For
And
the parade.
the HOM will get the DOT, the OPD, the mass gathering, and the safety plan together.
Second.
And all of it.
Your second, Russ?
Yep.
Any other discussion about Strawberry Fest?
Trina did, but that's okay.
That's fine.
Wait a second.
As long as somebody did that.
Somebody did.
We liked it.
We hadn't even finished it, saying it.
Argue over the seconds here.
Okay, so we'll vote on the Strawberry Festival. Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Okay, so that one's done. So next is 10-4 Porch Fest.
That we've spoken about whether or not there's going to be outside food vendors.
No.
There's not. Yeah, because we kind of wanted that to be for our, yeah, okay.
It's like some property owners will allow people out their property, which is their
Yeah, we
property.
don't have much control over that. Yeah, somebody did put a food wagon in their driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't stop that.
I mean, as long as you're meeting the
That requires
proper
whatever,
inspections.
that requires whatever permit it requires from the
As long as they
board.
have whatever,
1 day permit, whatever.
whatever permit they need.
But anyway, that's all I was concerned about.
Somebody want a motion to approve that maybe?
Fran,
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the Owego Porch Fest on Sunday, October the 4th.
I'm gonna second that.
Sorry, Rusty, you can't do it now.
I second it.
And we will be closing Lake Street, because that was the only
Closing like.
questionable thing last year that we.
Yeah, those would, yeah,
Remember,
it
we
says
signed
right
up
here,
for it.
closed Lake Street.
We're the ones that have to be smart enough to figure out with the, we have to coordinate with the,
DPW.
post office,
Right.
with the post office, and other than that, the state's not involved.
But it's a Sunday, right?
Yeah, but we
Correct.
still do Amazon.
We still have to,
Oh.
we still have to
Fiddlesticks.
coordinate that.
That's if they get the mailbox fixed.
Yeah, they gotta fix the
The
mailbox.
mailbox is closed.
Somebody ran into it, I
I
heard.
don't know.
Yeah,
Somebody-
somebody
I-
ran into it.
I talked to them today,
Oh.
because I'd heard that it had been vandalized, it had not, it was hit by an
Right.
amazing truck.
Yeah, an Amazon truck.
So-
Okay, we
Yeah,
gotta vote
we
on,
got a motion to second. We'll vote Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
Fran.
yes,
Terry.
Yes.
Charles. Yes. And yes. Okay, next one is Halloween Fest, 23rd.
I move to allow them to close the Halloween, or close for Halloween Fest on Friday, October 23rd, Lake Street from 3 to 8 p.m.
Second.
Any other discussion on Halloween Fest? Again, close Lake Street down. Have a good fest.
Watch out for that creepy Mike Myers guy, he's always there.
It's
No,
not
it's
that.
not him.
you ready for a vote?
Yeah,
Yes.
Fran, Terry,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Rusty, yes, Laura.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
And yes. Next one is the holiday showcase. Kind of nothing, but somebody should approve it.
Asking for a police escort for the horse and carriage for that.
So do we,
It's technically a parade for that.
do we order the police chief to do that, or do we ask him if he'll do that, or how do we do
Yeah,
that?
we just does it every year.
I think the reason they want a parade permit is they want to know the route.
Right.
Where to lead the horse and carriage. So that's why we do that.
Do we have to ask the state's permission to do that?
No, 'cause
We
it's
didn't
just
in the
a-
past, I don't
Same
think.
as like a bring it home.
No, the horse and carriage has a
You're not stopping.
sign on it, you know,
You just slow it
beyond
down
the road,
traffic,
so it's all
Yeah, there's
legal.
no,
stopping traffic.
the road doesn't even get closed, it just
Mhm.
gets in the traffic and whatever, like a funeral procession on it. So somebody want a motion to approve the permit?
I'll make a motion to have holiday showcase, police escort, horse and carriage, no closures, meets parade. November 14th. It's a Saturday.
Second.
And I will probably be in wherever I always am every Saturday. Cheer competition somewhere.
Shall I book Charlie already?
Laura.
Yes.
Rob.
Shall I book you already?
Fran.
Linda goes off on
Yes.
that.
Terry.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
And yes. And last one is Lights on the River, December 4th.
I make a motion that we approve the parade permit for the lights on the river, Friday the 4th with fireworks display and the parade, AV parade. Now, does that include closing Lake Street?
It does, yes.
Yes.
Doesn't say that, yes.
Well, we have to
Closing Lake
we have
Street.
to get a DOT permit.
Yeah.
Lake
They also
and
do
front.
front,
Lake
lake
and
there, yeah.
And then this would be the same thing, like you'd have to come back.
So that one we do have several, we don't have a ton, but we do have several vendors that we pull in on lights on the river. Right? We have a few vendors.
There's
on
some, it's not a ton, but some.
Yeah, not as many as
Yeah,
Charlie.
just a few on Front Street, yeah.
And the same, you'd bring us back to plans and the like, I mean, you're gonna need some more,
Yeah, yeah.
like we always do.
What time do we close at? It also wasn't on here. So is that 5 again? 5 lights on the river, is that 5 o'clock?
Well, that's when it starts.
It starts at some,
But we have
Starts
vendors,
at 5.
so I would say 2:00 again.
Close it.
It's when they close last year.
Close
I
Lake
think
Street.
it's like closer to 3 this year, but it was so cold this year.
It was 2 or 3, then they close the street. It's always a pain.
Watching people sit
Oh,
in
we-
tents up.
Cars.
so but a lot of times we get to it and the police don't know, nobody knows, so I just want to know, are we gonna close it at 2 or 3? What are we gonna do?
It was.
2:00 gives
Okay.
everybody time to get organized.
Because there's always somebody will leave their car and it's gonna get
Yeah,
tracked out and moved.
clear the street, right? Let's talk sometime.
And
We need a second, right?
we need a second.
I did first.
Second.
Any discussion about lights on the river? We'll get more info. Let's see. Yes, Laura.
Yes.
Ron. Yes. Brian.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Scott. Yes. And yes. I think you're good.
And we're gonna need, and on that one, we're gonna need some of you to eventually about fireworks times, because a lot of times, not necessarily your fault. People think the fireworks are at 8, or they think they're at 8:30 or at 9, and somehow it gets fudged up. It's in 2 different papers at different times, so we make sure we know when we're closing everything down the bridge, et cetera.
And then you'll get a copy of those, create the next to Owego.
Yep, I just told Rod.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, well, thanks, and I'll keep you updated. Do you have any good ideas, things we could do differently or better things to do for the village?
Maybe we'll be
Do our
talking,
best.
maybe we'll be talking with you about the 250th anniversary.
Yeah, you guys got any plans for tonight?
No, but
Not yet.
Maybe you need to talk to Stephanie and John with them.
We've got a large bell out here.
yes, we do.
We gonna put that on a float?
If you can move it, we can put it up. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna need it.
It wasn't that hard. They just,
Okay, well, you never know. Maybe you can make a paper mache replica.
I mean, it can be moved by a truck, but it's not easy to get anything out of here.
it wasn't that hard. They just work with it.
I hope the steamer might be done by this year.
They're saying April. April? Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
hope that that could be incorporated in the parade. So that
We're
would be
supposed to-
great.
That was the plan.
Yeah, well, that was
The
2
rain.
years ago. But I understand everything takes time.
Usually more time than we want.
And the building is beautiful that they made it. Very gorgeous. Okay, anything else I can answer for you? Okay. Thank you very much.
Stay till midnight with us.
Stay warm.
Yeah, it's getting later. It was 11.
I mean, I don't have any plans. I should be at the bowl.
You look sick today.
Huh?
You look sick,
Pat,
I don't.
thank you for coming ahead like we've asked you the last couple of years. I appreciate that.
Oh, we're happy to do it. Sure. Keep in touch.
All right, so now we got Dan Reese for climate smart communities.
Thank you. I seem to not have the ability to share my screen. Would someone be able to make me a presenter? Because I do have a slide deck I'd like to share if possible.
There you go. Now you should be able to.
Okay. Let's see. Is that working? Do you see a slide deck?
Yes.
Excellent. Great. All right. Well, thank you all for having me as a guest tonight at your board meeting. My name's Grace DeSantis. I'm a consultant with Barton and LaJudas. I've been assisting the village with their Climate Smart Communities grant for flood risk reduction. So over the past few months, I've been working closely with Laura, Julie, and the Climate Smart Communities Task Force on the effort that I'll be presenting about today. So today I want to share with the board 2 key deliverables that we've been working on with the Climate Smart Communities Task Force. One being the Community Rating System, Hazard Mitigation Plan, and Climate Smart Communities Action Strategy, which I know is a mouthful, so I'll just refer to it as the Action Strategy going forward. And also the Program for Public Information that we're hoping to begin assembling. And then at the end, we'll break for some discussion on the membership for the Program for Public Information Committee that we're hoping to form with your approval. So as you may be aware, one of the deliverables for the Climate Smart Communities grant that the village has is the development of an action strategy, which is intended to help the village advance through a handful of state and federal programs in the most efficient and effective manner. So the 3 programs that we were looking at for this action strategy were the Hazard Mitigation Plan, Climate Smart Communities Program, and the Community Rating System Program. So the village already has a hazard mitigation plan annex developed with Tioga County, which I was also a part of and familiar with. They also have already been participating in the Climate Smart Communities program. And then Community Rating System is a program that I understand the village is currently exploring and determining the feasibility of entering that program in the future. So the intent of this action strategy document that we've assembled is all about how to engage in those 3 programs the most efficiently and to maximize the benefits that are earned through the participation in those programs. So I'll just give a quick example. Many of these programs overlap. In other words, they share similar requirements or recommended activities. So for example, a community can get points for free board policies in both the Climate Smart Communities and the Community Rating System program. So points in both programs for doing just one action. So it's worthwhile to position the village to earn points under as many programs as they can, or in other words, double dip in these programs and pursue them more efficiently. So the action strategy identifies the types of synergies that I've just walked through with this example of free board policies. So in the action strategy, we use the village's hazard mitigation plan as the foundation since it was developed with local public input. And our goal was to understand which of those 40 plus actions that came out of the hazard mitigation plan process make the most sense to prioritize, especially given the village's engagement in the state's Climate Smart Communities program and consideration to engage in the Community Rating System program in the future. So we evaluated each of those hazard mitigation plan actions based on a series of criteria. First, does the mitigation action relate to one or more of the community rating system activities? In other words, if you completed that hazard mitigation plan mitigation action, could it earn points in the community rating system program? Another criteria we used to evaluate the actions was if there was or was not existing village or state efforts that could be leveraged to push the mitigation action forward. Or in other words, we're identifying whether or not that action would need to be started from scratch. So it was a level of effort evaluation that we did as well for each action. And then finally, we also identified Climate Smart Communities actions that could be progressed through the implementation of each mitigation action as well. So it was a very complex analytical scoring process that we used. And those mitigation actions that scored the highest were then presented to the Climate Smart Communities Task Force because we wanted to make sure we were ground truthing the results of that ranking exercise with, boots on the ground folks who understand what truly are the priorities of the village community. So we ran those high priority actions that ranked highest with the Climate Smart Communities Task Force, and we tweaked them as it was deemed appropriate. So ultimately, the scoring and evaluation process resulted in 11 high priority actions for the village to implement for flood risk reduction efforts. These included updating municipal regulations, implementing an emergency notification system, overcoming staffing challenges, which included establishing partnerships, implementing training, hiring new staff, implementing the USACE stormwater study, implementing citizen education and engagement, resizing and inspecting culverts, establishing a flood mitigation parcel inventory, establishing a debris management plan, implementing memorandums of understanding for heating and cooling centers, establishing a flood evacuation route, and conducting a vulnerability assessment of critical facilities. And I would like to run through these 11 actions in more detail with the board if we have time at the end of this meeting, but I do want to focus on one of these priority actions in particular because we're hoping to have a discussion with the board on potentially establishing a new committee to move that action forward. And that would be priority action number 5, citizen education and engagement. So in discussion with the Climate Smart Communities Task Force, citizen education and engagement around flood risk reduction really shone through as a priority. It is an impactful low-cost action that can earn points in both the Climate Smart Communities and Community Rating System program. And again, this is also something that was recommended that the village do in its Hazard Mitigation Plan Annex. So the task force is interested in moving forward with this activity at this time. And also, I'll just mention that outreach and education activities can also be covered under the village's current Climate Smart Communities grant, which is something that I'm here and ready to support as a consultant for that project. So it's important also to know that in order to be eligible for community rating system points, community outreach has to take a specific form. I understand the village is currently not enrolled in the community rating system. However, if the village ever considers joining the program in the future, then it would make sense to ensure outreach activities that are implemented now will be eligible for points later. So for the community rating system, public outreach has to cover certain topics, use specific and repeated messaging, and be issued to identified audiences. So there's a lot of guidance and requirements around what public information gets issued and to whom and by when, and all of that calculates how many points you get in the CRS program. So because of these very specific parameters, the CRS program recommends beginning the community outreach process by developing what's called a program for public information. So the Program for Public Information, or PPI, is a document that establishes a framework for issuing public outreach activities. So it identifies what activities will be conducted, what messaging will be issued, who will conduct that outreach activity, and when. And in other words, it's a document that helps a village stay organized when issuing public outreach activities related to flood risk mitigation. Moreover, by having the Program for Public Information in place, many other CRS activities that the village may complete in the future would be eligible for bonus points. So I just want to highlight that because there's an incentive really to develop this Program for Public Information before jumping to implementing public outreach activities. Because if you have this document in place first, then those outreach activities that you can conduct get bonus points tacked onto them. And again, even though the village is not currently enrolled in CRS, we're using this CRS framework and this Program for Public Information framework since it's a proven methodology for public outreach. So there's 7 components to the Program for Public Information. And the first is to establish a committee to develop, oversee, and implement the Program for Public Information document. So the role of the committee is to meet twice, at least twice, during the development of the Program for Public Information document, and then they must meet at least once annually thereafter. So meeting requirements are pretty minimal, but if the committee would like, they're welcome to meet more than that base requirement. Ultimately, the committee will make sure that the Program for Public Information document is tailored to the village's specific challenges and putting forth public outreach activities in alignment with community needs. So with that in mind, with insight from the task force, membership for the committee has been proposed. And this membership that's been proposed and assembled on the screen right now meets the requirements of that membership for the CRS program. So we've assembled 7 individuals so far who are willing to participate on this committee. Representing the local government are Laura Spencer and Mick Knapp. And then we also have other subject matter experts from outside local government serving on, or offering to serve on this committee should the village choose to establish it. So in addition to Laura and Mick, that includes Ashley Seyfried, the Director of Sustainability at Southern Tier 8, Chris Audette, the Director of the Waterman Conservation, Edna Pauley, a local real estate broker, Jim Rollo, an insurance agent, and David Mixter, an assistant professor at Binghamton University. And then myself and Julie Nucci are on the screen, as you'll see, but we're listed here as non-voting advisors. So our role would not necessarily be as a committee member officially, but rather to advise and assist with the development of the document. And then also important to note is that Laura, Mick, and Julie all live within the 100-year floodplain, which we felt was important to bring that lived experience as well as a subject matter expertise to the table as well. So our key goal tonight is to discuss this committee membership with you all and seek your insight or suggestions or approval so that we can move forward with convening the committee and preparing the document for the PPI to move forward with outreach activities. So our next steps in the process, if this PPI committee were to be approved and formally convened, would be to then develop the PPI document, Program for Public Information document. Then it would be presented to you, the village board, for formal approval and adoption. And then once that occurs, then we would move forward with implementing the recommended public outreach activities within that document. So I know that's a lot, so I'll just summarize before we break for discussion. So to conclude here, these efforts that I've been talking about today are part of the village's Climate Smart Communities Grant for flood risk mitigation. Our work began with the development of that action strategy, which identified public education and outreach as a high priority activity, which is why we've decided to move down this direction of developing the program for public information. And in order to move forward with developing that PPI, we're looking for your insight and approval on the membership for that particular committee. So here I'd like to come back to the proposed PPI membership and open up for comments from the board. You know, do you feel comfortable with the proposed individuals? Do you have any suggestions or questions? And also Laura and Julie, I know you've been involved in this process as well, so feel free to chime in too if I've missed anything or you feel I should clarify any points here.
Doug Weeks at our last meeting volunteered to be on the committee, so it would be nice if we could also consider putting him on the list.
Yes, thank you, Laura. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
It looks like a very diverse group.
It is, and the CRS program really emphasizes that. They really want to see the committee not only be made up of representatives of local government, but also of community stakeholders and individuals experienced in other facets of flood mitigation, like, you know, real estate industry and insurance agency. So the committee was intentionally structured to have a lot of voices and perspectives.
What would be the time frame between forming this committee and getting the information to the actual public?
I would estimate it might take a couple of months to put together the PPI document because we are required to meet at least twice with the PPI committee. And because we wanted the village's approval of the committee to begin with, we haven't had any meetings with the committee yet. We have started doing background research though. So we have, you know, some maps of key areas that we might want to conduct outreach in. Laura has done a lot of work already in developing some messaging. So we have some groundwork already done, but we'll need to accommodate time for the committee meetings and allowing the committee to review and approve the document before it comes back to the board.
So the other thing, so Grace, you did a really nice job presenting all of that. The other thing I wanted to tell you is right now we're in conversations. The reason why there's a Binghamton University professor on there, you might be like, why is there a Binghamton University professor? But there's really a method to that madness because he teaches an environmental science course and he teaches a capstone senior project course. And we are in conversations with him now. I actually just got an email from him today, and he, based on the number of students who signed up for his class, he's expecting that he will have 2 to 3 groups of students who can do projects on addressing needs in Owego. And so that's really awesome because we get free student labor. I'm hoping that one student group for sure can cover like making website stuff, making Facebook posts, making pamphlets that get put in the library, maybe information that lives in the village hall, because that's all just really useful stuff. And I think the timing is good because as long as, you know, we don't officially post that stuff until the plan is being developed, that the plan has been approved by you guys, then I think to a certain extent, this stuff can be developed in parallel. But we don't want to take forever to get back to you for approval of this document because we need to stay within the semester. I think it would be really nice, assuming this all goes, that the students could maybe present their final reports to the board. So you could see what the students are doing. We talked about, and if anybody in the board would want to attend, about perhaps at the February task force meeting, so that's the second Friday in February, to have the students present to the Climate Smart Communities Task Force of this is what we're thinking about, because that's still early in the semester. So if anybody on the board, if that comes to pass, if anybody on the board wants an invite to the task force meeting, please shoot me a text or an email and let me know. And I will invite you because I think it's really important that we can give the students feedback early in the semester to make sure they don't go down, you know, a path that we don't want them to go.
Semester mid-May, early May, is that what that ends?
Semester ends early May. Yep. So it would meet like the first May board meeting or the second April board meeting would be the time when students would present final projects. You know, that would give them the better part of the semester. So it's the nice thing is we have a lot of momentum right now, right? We've got it was a fair amount of work to figure out who should be on this committee, to get them all to approve, and so we're kind of cooking right now. And I you know, the goal is to just kind of keep this momentum going, work on the plan, convene this group a couple times, get a document in front of you guys as we're working with the Binghamton students. So does that sound like a reasonable, are you all good with that general strategy?
Sounds good.
Okay. The other thing, just which is not related but related because it's an education issue. I don't know if you guys all know, but now, and Laura might have told you this, but now the regulatory floodplain isn't just the 100-year floodplain, it's the 500-year floodplain. Laura, I don't know if you talked to the board about that.
I did.
You did not?
I
So
did.
just, you did. Okay, good, good. So this is something that we can make a part in a very timely way of this education and outreach program, because this is a change that just happened in January. So people in the 500-year floodplain, they need floodplain development permits. Now they have to go through all of those processes. So it's just something that's timely that we can include in our education for the community.
Mike. And for whoever, are all of the people that potentially might be on this committee, have they all been contacted? They're all willing to do this? They're all?
It's a question for them. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill is shaking her head, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, she
everybody
said
on that
that.
list is willing to serve.
And it's important because, right, because it's important to have a realtor, because realtors need to know what information, for us to get input from a realtor to know what what's most commonly not known, overlooked, how we can address realtors selling real estate in the village. Same thing with insurance. And just how do we help get that public message out about who has to have insurance, issues with insurance, different markets. Right now, there's a private market for flood insurance. There's a public market for flood insurance. There's an increased cost of compliance if you ever had a flood that you can get out of your flood insurance if you need more funds. Just to have those voices and that expertise. Chris Audette we put on there because Waterman has a strong education arm. Ashley knows what's going on in the whole community and has access to a whole bunch of resources that we don't. So we were very intentional in picking local people who bring a lot of expertise while trying to keep the committee as small as possible because there's a herding cats problem of having meetings.
Okay, committee.
Yeah, we're on different committees, yep. Laura, you might do.
I would like to motion that we create the PPI committee, which stands for Program for Public Information, and establish that it have these members that I'll say. I'll do them in the order that I have them on my screen. So Chris Audette, it's Audette. I'll just say it. Okay, so Chris Audette from Waterman Conservation Center, Grace DeSantis is on the screen, Nick Knapp, who's our code enforcement and floodplain administrator, David Nixter from Binghamton University, Julie Nucci on the screen, Edna Pauly, a local realtor, Jim Rollo, a local insurance agent, Ashley Seyfried from the Southern Tier 8 Regional Board, myself, I'm a CFM, Certified Floodplain Manager, and Douglas Weeks, he's a local resident, lives in the special flood hazard area. He is a retired Waterman Conservation Education Center executive director.
We got a motion, we got a second for that?
So that's not pretty big committee.
I'll second that.
No, I didn't first that.
No, Laura did.
She did.
Laura.
Laura did.
It is a large committee, but
And everybody
Maybe
has
get
to
them
come
all
to every
together twice,
meeting.
that'd be
is
fantastic.
it, now, like the way it's broken up on the screen, the non-voting members, is that the way it's set?
The non-voting members are the consultants that the village has hired to work with us on the project. And that's why they're non-voting, but they would be on the committee and prepare like the paperwork from, all the actions that the committee takes. The consultants would, take that information and put it into the report, create the program.
I
I'm here.
I might be able to be a voting member since I am a village resident, but at the time when we did this, and Grace, I don't know if you could chime in. I didn't think it mattered because I thought the committee was fine. But the reason why I initially went in as a non-voting member was because there's strict requirements for the outside village government component. And I don't know if, yeah, so I mean, I just want you guys to understand that's why, as a village resident who lives in the village, if I would only go in as a voting member if we know that it's compliant. I know it's compliant if I'm not a voting member. And the important thing is to just help guide the process. But if you're wondering why I wasn't in there as voting, that's why. It's because of that government employees, contractors, and consultants can't exceed 20% with this category. So that's why I'm there, and it's fine.
see what other questions we got.
I'm curious of what amount of work this will entail for any of our current staff and what expense this might be.
So this document that you're gonna create with the committee, how much of that does the staff, meaning Mick and Meg, and them have to front the work for that?
I can answer that. Mick would have to participate in each of the meetings or try to come to as many of them as he can because it's part of his job as a floodplain administrator to do those tasks for the village. So it's a requirement that he would be involved in the committee's work. So it takes time because it would be, under his duty. But the committee would help him in the office because it creates all the materials that they would distribute.
Who is responsible for creating the document itself?
The consultants will help us create the document.
Okay.
There's a draft already started that we, work in the framework and just it's like the government's framework that they've set up for this kind of program, and we go through and do the required messaging. So it's basic messaging that you give out to people so that they can protect themselves if flood is coming.
Right, but I guess what Rusty was asking is how much time will our DPW be
Is our
required to put
is
into
our
it?
office staff going to be working on this? Will they be doing this? Is this all outside of that?
They need to be involved, with the information because it's like it's their topic of issue, The floodplain administrator works on protecting managing the floodplain for the village and the building codes and all the structures in it. So it's just part of his job that he.
Whereas
Is it like
outside of mixed, probably more like office,
Mag.
Meg, Kim, Nikki,
Candy, are they going to be working on this, and will that be part of?
I guess, is this like
we'll just take away
2 hours of
responsibility.
making a meeting, or is it like 70 hours of making?
No, it's-
Typing a document.
This is the committee doing the work, and Mick would just be a member of the committee and he would have to attend the meetings.
So I have some comments about that. One of the things that we're keen to do is to get information about the floodplain on the village website. And I talked to Kim Norton, and Kim Norton found out from, I don't know if it's the county or whoever manages the website, because it's a lot of work for Kim to get stuff on the website, but she can get a sign on for the students. So like for the website, for example, and I think we should figure out what kind of process do we want to implement if we create content for the village website with respect to flood information. What kind of procedures do you want to set up about who's going to look at that content before it ever goes live and say, yes, we like this, this is good. And we've found a way through Binghamton University for that to happen without Kim Norton having to be the one who has to do all the work. All she'll have to do is coordinate with a student for a student to get a log on. But I would think you guys as the board would want some say on what are we ultimately going to put on the village website. So that's one thing. Also, with respect to that, one of the things is some of that information is going to be DPW relevant. So as Laura said, it does fall under the purview of DPW's job, But what we may be able to do is things that actually make it easy for DPW by getting building permit forms online or floodplain development permit forms online, especially if we end up, whether we go with or without Forerunner software, which is, if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. But I know Mike and Nate do. If we can find a way to work with DPW to help streamline their process and help the public understand more what the process of permitting really needs to look like, will it take some of their time? Yes, but it should be something that improves the efficiency of their office ultimately.
The website thing scares me a little bit because right now the people with logins are me, Tim, and Meg. And like when you have a login, you can go in and do whatever you want. The website, you know how to do it, which like usually it's me, 'cause I do.
So
if we give the login to BU Kid, that's great because they can help us, but it also unlocks everything that they can change about everything on the whole website.
It's gonna be by agreement.
and there's no way that access to certain pages can be restricted?
I don't know. So we have a website through a third-party company, and I don't know. Like, I know I can go and do anything I want.
So we'll have to look into that. We'll have to look into that, Mike, and make sure that there's no risk there and figure out how to manage that. That's a fair point.
My other question was budgetary. Do we have any budget whatsoever for any of this?
CSC grant award that we won for the 5-year help to get into the CRS. That budget contains any printing and stamps and that kind of stuff in it. So we do have a grant that's covering costs that are related to this.
Are there,
Which we haven't spent yet, right? We have in the grant that we're going to spend a couple $1,000s a year on education and outreach. We haven't yet. So we're actually behind on spending
And Julie, this
for
is
education and outreach.
This is something that the grant is basically saying that we have to do, right? Like,
Yes, right. This whole doing all of this education and outreach is a big piece of our deliverables to the DEC in the Climate Smart Communities grant. So we are doing what we said we were going to do in this grant.
Well, are we gonna vote on the members? Okay.
I know Julie said a couple of times that, trying to keep it small. I'm just curious how Doug Weeks ended here, because we do have someone, Chris Audette is working currently through Waterman, I believe. He is the director now, correct? And I'm just wondering why we want to take a committee that has 9 people and go up to 10, just for, like, did he have some special qualification that was gonna really help, or?
Well, for several meetings, I announced that we were asking for people who wanted to serve on the committee. And Doug Weeks volunteered at the last meeting and said he wanted to serve on it.
I just don't know, like, so if you're gonna vote, right now there's 7 voting members. If we add Doug, that makes it 8, which means you can have votes tie potentially.
Right.
Which is why we have an odd number. Bring it in, committee has not.
So you're saying the voting members should be odd number?
That makes it work easier because then you can't tie. I don't know what there is controversial to vote on, but.
Right, I don't know either. I just was wondering how it went from like 9 people to 10. And,
where do you come from? How did it go?
right. I mean,
Did
yes.
the committee pick him? Did they interview him? Was it because he was here and asked? Yeah, those are the questions.
Right.
Well, I guess if we get 30 other residents, are we gonna let them all? Like if they don't have like we have an insurance guy and whatever, like they have a role.
Well,
and it's kind of like I look at OHPC, you want an architect, you want people with different things, and it seems like that's what this seems to be working. I'm just trying to figure out, because you hate to have the group be so big that it becomes difficult to
Yeah,
have your meeting.
having flashbacks of that DRI committee that we had no say over. It was, yeah, 18 people or something like that.
So are you recommending that we reduce that by that?
I mean, there is the problem too, if you have something that they're not sure which way to go, what do you do when there's 4 and 4?
I would anticipate anyone having a problem with finding out what flood risk information and like picking up what audiences are experiencing flooding and what, should receive the messaging. There's nothing contentious about this kind of info.
No, most boards are 5 or 7 or whatever.
I would err with Terry. I think an odd number would avoid any conflict that may potentially arise. If he stays on as a non-voting, I really don't care. I just think to streamline the board process.
Right.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Would you be willing to keep about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I would remove, willing village participant from the list to get a vote approved tonight. So I'll motion to just have the numbers on the screen approved for the program for public information.
Who was the seconder?
Did you want to second that?
Great.
Yeah.
She agrees.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Any other discussion?
We're pretty good on the budget. We're pretty good on not necessarily having a tremendous amount of work created for our people. So,
Vote on this. Rusty.
yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Yes.
Fran.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Scott. Yes. And Jeff. You guys, is that all you have? I think so, right?
Is there more for Grace?
No, it just, Rod, when that resolution is written up, could you just send me that? Because I will need that to send in a CSC quarterly report. Thanks.
And at some point, I would like to have more discussion with the village board about those total top 11 priority actions that came out of the action strategy document. I know I've already taken up a lot of your time, so I won't pressure us to go down that road at this point in time, but I will throw that out as an option perhaps at a future board meeting. If you would like, I'd be happy to give a more detailed overview and discussion of the full results of that action strategy.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you all. It's nice to meet you.
Thanks,
Nice
Julie.
to meet you, Grace.
Let's see.
Grace is doing a great job for us, just so you all know.
Oh, thank you, Julie.
Department head reports, haven't heard from anybody other than the fire department. Nothing. Let's do that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the new Owego Fire Department volunteer Dylan Judge, 7 North Avenue, Apartment B, Owego, into company number 4.
I'll second that. Sorry, Rusty.
Any discussion about Dylan? Thank you for volunteering.
He's gone through the Ran.
You know him, Charles?
I personally know, I don't.
Is he young guy, old guy?
Well,
I don't know what to ask that.
yeah, it's,
Didn't ask how old he was.
he went through the gauntlet of fire board.
Is there,
It's actually quite
That
I
gauntlet's,
can't tell
that
you.
gauntlet's pretty neat, but that's another story.
you know, if they have training that involves like going in interior firefighting?
You can become either in or out.
Yeah, you can do vehicle or.
You don't have to be green tag, you can be, he'll be a newbie, so.
Apparently, he's not an existing fireman, 30-year-old guy that's already got various trainings. Apparently, he's a new fellow.
He's a newbie, okay.
So he'll do whatever he wants to do as far as take courses and stuff. Anyway, just vote on the new member, Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Ron. Yes. Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
We got the treasurer's report.
We got anything from any of the other department heads, Mike?
Oh, yeah, I got a whole list of stuff in sewer.
I guess for you.
More questions that I had today. They want to know how to go about imposing fines on somebody who is sending inappropriate material into the sewer through the lateral and it keeps getting clogged and we have to keep going out. So we're curious how we go about it, whether code is involved or how that process works.
They should see me on Nate Friday, and we can talk through what the problem is, and look at the code together and figure that out. But one thing Ron noted, or in my brief conversation with Ron, it authorized the superintendent of public works to enforce the sewer code, which makes sense because it's all underneath DPW, it's all within DPW. It would probably make sense, and you can do it by motion, to authorize Dirk to enforce your sewer code, which I think would also make sense, since he's your director of utilities or whatever.
Talked to Fred today about that. He has no problem. We will send that to him to streamline the process hypothetically.
Yeah, Fred does have the responsibility in the law to do anything that's like, discharging into the stormwater sewer system or anywhere.
This one, the code is 166-43 in particular, where it just says that we would just like the rewording to director of utilities rather than.
We don't need to reword it, because that already authorizes the building board to designate someone else to enforce the chapter. So again, by motion tonight, you could authorize Dirk to enforce the chapter.
Can I make that motion?
So you can make that.
Is he prepared?
Yeah, I talked to Dirk today and Mike about this, because they want to get some of these things kind of nipped in the bud. I move that we would allow Dirk, the director of utilities, to
Enforce chapter 166 of the village code
enforce chapter 166 of the village code.
pursuant to section 166-43.
Pursuant to section 166-43.
Right off the top of your head.
Remember.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a second?
I did.
Any discussion about that? That's just so Dirk can not have to involve Fred every time somebody puts bad stuff in the sewer.
It seems cumbersome.
It's really silly.
Then if you want to meet Friday with Dirk.
Yeah, we should.
Look at the code. Do or something.
So, vote on that, Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Yes.
and yes.
Then there was a question on who's responsible for cleaning the catch basins.
Oh, yeah.
But Fred said he will just do that as long as he has access to the vehicle.
Right,
There's a whole back and forth on who should be doing it. And
right.
as long as it gets done, it needs to be done to prevent any further flood issues and yada, yada.
Yeah, the village is responsible.
Right. The
Yeah.
village is.
The issue is that
It's a sewer department truck, which also falls under Fred, but they want to utilize sewer department vehicle, people to do it. It's a whole,
it's a whole Fred.
yeah,
Certain
it's
things.
honestly a pissing match. And it's.
Yeah, but it's-
Yeah, they're agreeable on working it out then.
They do, but Fred just said that he will use his own guy and do it as long as they give him access to the vehicle. Because we need a CDL driver to do that. There is one
Right, that's our,
DPW and one in the sewer.
that's our only CDL. Right.
And you're supposed to check everything like once a year, clap traps and stuff too.
Right.
Yeah.
Then, question about capital improvement. Could we use that for maintenance equipment? For like, they're particularly looking for a new camera system to be able to go in and view the lines, because the one we have is very outdated. We usually outsource that to one of the local companies. I don't know if that would be able to come from that capital improvement line item.
We could look again at the resolution language that authorized it, because I don't remember if it's probably not, because capital typically means like building infrastructure, not equipment.
Then the other question was, a grit separator for our intake, would that be
I would
considered?
think that's capital.
Because I mean, that's one of the big problems we have when we're intaking some of this questionable material. So I'll let them know that we're the big,
We should have a regular meeting on Fridays when I'm here with the sewer guys and you, if you want to read that. If they got questions, they can come ask me.
Apparently, he's gotta get to work.
Like we are looking at increasing the EDU schedule. I mean, it's been almost been a decade, it's been quite a while.
It's been at least 8 years.
And I know Veolia just sent me another one in the mail, I mean, every 6 months. It seems
Oh, I know.
like. And we're looking at.
We're not keeping up with that.
There's a difference between, you mean like changing the rate for the EDU?
Yeah. I don't know if that's a
The
public.
EDU should be assessed to pay back the bonds for the treatment plant project. So are the treatment plant project payments increasing? I mean,
Well, in the way of electrical and stuff of that sort, it
that's,
is.
that's operations of the plant. How do we?
We-
Oh, that's
we-
right.
we use those both.
I was thinking you guys were metering for some reason.
That would make.
We wish.
Yeah, if you need to raise the EDU, if you need to raise the rate, yes, you can.
So we're trying to find a methodology to do that in a fair way for the village and still meet our expenses.
We can talk about it.
Okay. I guess that's all I've got.
Can I tell you, ready for me to say something?
Yeah.
Since things will be being talked about possibly on Friday, a number of residents have asked me about a methodology when they have a building with apartments in it and they're empty for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, a methodology so that they can have relief from the EDU, temporary relief from the EDU. And so that's something we should be sniffing at if we have any interest in that.
In the discussion.
We talked about that a bunch of times, but if we're going to be talking about stuff, let's talk about that one too.
That's a hard problem because you don't know when they.
It becomes, yep, you have to figure it out.
Was, is there any way to find out how much water goes through the building?
No,
No.
but that's not the deal I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
I know.
One of the restaurants had apartments above it and didn't have anybody in them for years and years. And one of the ways we said, oh, you got to tear out the utilities or whatever if you're not going to do. Well, that's not a logical way to solve that problem. Whatever way we would just decide to solve it, if there was a way that the sewer and the code could go in, make a determination that this is not being used, we'll give you this 1 year of blah, 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 we'll inspect it in 6 months, make sure that it's still empty and you're still working on it, whatever methodology there is. Some methodology, if we want to have a person be able to.
There's a balance there. Because
Yeah.
you get a list of
Yeah.
fire inspections that you gotta go to 75,000 of these things every year.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that's something that we talked about looking at, we probably should look at that. Because a couple people have legitimate complaints.
I think you were talking about somebody bought a house they got to redo and.
It's empty and they just got a 4-apartment sewer bill, and they're spending a year fixing this house up. And he said, why in the world do I want to come to Owego and fix a house? It's just, yeah.
It's been a problem since the EDU came around.
So, something to sniff at.
Thanks for making the agenda on Friday longer.
Yeah, you guys Nate, you gotta be here about 7 on Friday now.
Coming right in.
Ron will bring you breakfast.
There we go.
Be good.
Got it.
I'll get up with crusties in my eyes and come over here.
Joe, Mike, I don't have anything from Joe, so nothing from the police.
Treasurer's report. Motion to say what we got.
Well, I did mention,
We have one correction, we just.
right, we need to make some, the, repair for, monument there, for the plaque monument was taken out of the wrong fund. So it needs to be, yeah,
Move to approve for December
Second.
with correction.
Any other discussion about it? I did run my analysis like 2 weeks ago. Everything was kind of pretty much on track, so.
That was our blessings.
Let's vote on that. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Fran?
yes,
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes. Payment of bills.
Move to pay the bills from 1/1 to 1/16.
Second.
Any questions about the bill?
Nothing really stood out. They keep coming back every month or so.
I know.
Yeah.
Every meeting, actually. We do it twice a month now. Comfortable. That's better. It's easier. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Fran?
yes,
Gary?
Yes.
Charles? And yes. Oh, yeah, we'll sign it. This one, this one. Minutes?
I motion we approve the minutes of the January 5th meeting as submitted. I did send my report in. I'm not sure if it made it into this draft here. It didn't, but I did send it in and it got to a draft that got mailed to me.
Second.
I would ask to, for the minutes from last meeting to add in the photographs of the before and after pictures of the plaque monument, just
Oh, yeah.
to have for record.
They got sent to me, I don't think I sent it. Yeah. Okay. Any other thing for the minutes? Okay. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes,
Gary?
Yes.
Charles? Yes. And yes. Trustee reports. Rusty?
Not stealing anybody's thunder, but, let's just get it done. Are we going to do anything about the chicken law tonight? We've decided no, tonight is not
Not
tonight,
tonight.
we're still working. That's it. Thank you. Just, I'll make sure we get that in. Okay, no report.
Ron?
I already gave my summer report. I think that's all you need to hear.
Perfect. Charles?
I do not have.
Laura?
Okay, about grants, the cemetery study, we won a grant for that cemetery study. The New York Department of Environmental Conservation announced that the village won a $50,000 grant award for a non-agricultural, non-point source planning report. So it's a green infrastructure engineering feasibility study, which would investigate the feasibility of installing green infrastructure practices at the Evergreen Cemetery to mitigate erosion and prevent excessive stormwater from entering the village's combined stormwater sanitary sewer system. Yeah.
Is there a match to that?
it's
Somebody
pretty,
matching over.
no, the village does not have to match it.
The Southern Tier 8 is the treated funds.
Wait, say that again. The what?
Southern Tier 8.
The Southern Tier 8, I saw that. It's a
Southern Tier
Quentin Tarantino movie, I saw that.
Okay.
It contributed what, where, how?
They're
Well-
doing the match for us.
They're contributing our match.
They've helped us with the work. So, yeah, we want to thank Wendy Welsh and the crew from Tioga County Soil and Water Conservation District and Ashley Seyfried from the Southern Tier 8 Regional Board. And their efforts they're the ones who did the grant writing, submitted the grant, and located the funding for us to
Yeah.
You realize the question was, do we have to match the grant in any way?
No, there is no money from the village board. Yes, no, there's no money from the village board.
50 grand for the study and nothing from us.
And,
Yeah, so we.
the cemetery will be working with the Tioga County Soil and Water to, get that, research done and decide on plants to put in there in the cemetery. So,
Email Julie said, we do not have a match, but the Appalachian Regional Commission is covering the match for us.
The match we don't have.
Right.
Right. That's what she
so
said.
the village does not have to pay.
So the Southern Tier 8 manages the Appalachian Regional Commission's money that we sent for our region's projects, and they decided that they wanted to spend a certain amount on us to contribute for this project. And so that's why we went ahead to seek this grant. And so we wanted, and then similarly, the Tioga County Soil and Water also won a grant for the assessment study of the Owego Creek. And that's to identify opportunities to implement natural stream design approaches to reduce erosion and mitigate flooding in the lower east branch of Owego Creek watershed, which is all the creek along our border where it meets the river.
Well, Ron, I have the email here from
So that-
Julie. You can use, that's hers, and there's the, both sides you can look at there for that grant.
I see an email. Almost, I don't think that's.
Yes.
It
Yeah,
didn't, but we
that's the
were,
grants.
we were working with them to get this information for the village of Owego because it's a major flooding source for a big portion of our population.
Right.
So
Village
getting
did
them,
not go for this. They did this on their own. I don't see the village tied in this email to it.
the type of soil and water did on their own.
That's what it
And
looks
didn't,
like.
yeah, they did not involve us, but it benefits us. So that's why I wanted to report it. Because we were in on the discussions that they were.
When you say grant, we hear match. So we like.
Right.
Thank you.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
So, money is coming for the cemetery on a grant. The cemetery committee doesn't have the authorization to spend that money. The cemetery committee comes to the board with their recommendations, okay?
Yeah,
Just
we
like,
would
but
be-
it sounds like
I'm just saying,
that
we
they're all,
would be working with the Tioga County Soil and Water as far as their recommendations and what plants should be put in. And then they will put together a report that will bring to the committee.
Sounded like,
because it sounds like, oh, yeah,
So,
just follow the
No,
process.
we don't, the committee does not have the authorization
spend
to
anything.
spend money.
They recommend.
It will come back to the board here as far as what will be spent.
Thank you.
so with the grant, the village would hire somebody to do an engineering study. And Tioga Soil and Water would work with us to figure out all the details of how we would go about finding the person, doing the study, getting the quotes for people.
The village has to hire this person.
Tioga County Soil and Water will handle it.
We have to, then we have to do all of our procurement.
Right, we'll follow the
So,
procurement
the,
policy for any work that's hired, but it involves an engineer that's going to do a watershed analysis of that location. Because the previous ones are that complete. They're just scoping studies by the Tioga Soil and Water engineers that they have, and it's not the kind of certified licensed engineer that they would hire in doing this job, but they do this.
So there should be a grant agreement sent to the village for the board to approve. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's with the,
So we just need to wait to see that.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything about any of this, so, yeah.
What the
Right.
village's obligations are.
we just got an award notification,
Right.
and it's with the DEC. And so it does take some paperwork and some time before they, get us to
Right.
working on it.
And I think what I'm actually hearing from the trustees is that because the village didn't apply for this, it's like suddenly, oh, town feels like.
Yeah, we did apply for it. Tina Nucci came to us back in September
Yes.
to ask
Okay, yeah.
permission to put in this grant.
Say it was through the town council.
That was the other
Well,
one.
there's another.
Yeah, that's different.
That was the one about the
There's
street.
several grants.
Yeah, there are two different grants. The one for the creek and one for the cemetery.
The cemetery grant is 50,000, and that's the Village of Owego's grant award. The one that studies the creek is 75,000, and that's just Howard County Soil and Waters work that they're gonna do. But we'll benefit from having the study after it's complete.
Right, but we're not involved in that.
We don't have, no, we're not involved with
Other
that
than
one.
the creek runs through the village. Right.
So somehow we had to give our blessing for them to, some grants we have to, like the one on North Avenue, we give them permission under our umbrella to do it. This is kind of like that. With this, so, yeah,
I don't know if we would have to do that.
okay.
Other than, yeah, it'd be nice to know about the creek because we don't know a lot about it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next study, or the next thing on here about grants is the DRI Public Art. The 4 design finalists that were selected to phase 2 by the committee. They're going to move to phase 2 where they supply some more the final detailed views and drawings, materials and budget. So members from the art review committee, village, and fund will have short meetings with each of the finalists if they would like about the feedback and the questions about their designs. The meetings would be recorded and posted so everyone can access the information that's been provided to the finalists. And the website needs to be updated to current information. We did receive a Freedom of Information law request for the Call to Art and the Public Art project. And that really stepped up the process for me temporarily because it took me like over 9 hours collecting records to respond for it. And so there's been major delays in getting communications for the design submitters and the finalists for information on the project. But I did send out a meeting invitation today, and we've set up one already for this Friday. So what'll happen is I'll send out the Zoom link for everybody if they're able to attend at that time. And it's like a 30-minute meeting where we discuss what was the feedback that was supplied by the committee about their particular designs. So it deals with the views from all sides, the minority and women-owned business requirements, like how it might be attached, how things might be attached to the ground, or different questions that might pertain to each project proposal. And we hope that would be about a 30-minute.
When's this gonna be?
Each of the 4 would have like a 30-minute meeting.
Each of the 4 people?
So we have,
When's this gonna be?
there's one at Friday at 10 a.m. And then Bruce just said that he wants his at,
Oh, no, he just came asking because he hasn't heard
He
anything.
hadn't heard.
So I don't come Friday at 1 o'clock just because I can be here and figure out what's going on. He's probably the one who will you.
it's not, but, so Friday at 1 p.m. is the Bruce Nelson, or the Nelson Development Group. And then, one other responded back today saying they weren't ready for they have some other questions first before we could have a meeting. And the 4th, I expect we'll hear from any time, or if we haven't during the, could have during the meeting, so we'll see. But it's now moving along. And the CEC solar project, we had a meeting with Buffalo Solar, Nate and the mayor and I. What's that?
Have you heard anything from them?
I have not.
They're
You?
waiting.
Okay.
It's not a good plan.
They were supposed to have us something to take action tonight.
Yeah, they were supposed to have it a week ago or more.
So what we needed to do is, we had a discussion about the age of the roof substructure and needing a structural engineer's assessment. So we wanted to know who could come by and look at our building before we.
The recap of the meeting is it failed their initial structural look, and they want more testing. They want penetrative
Ground penetrating radar and possibly core sampling of the roof. And the reason it failed is because of the building's age. Apparently it's about 65 years old, and the roof's apparently never been replaced.
Like the roof has been replaced, but the actual decking.
Yeah, so it's the membrane, not the roof structure. Right? So they're concerned about the roof structure, because the useful life of the building and the roof is like 30 to 40 years, something like that. So without doing ground penetrating radar and potentially core sampling, no structural engineer is going to certify this thing to put anything else up there.
Makes sense.
And they won't do anything with it. Their plans to get stamped by a structural engineer, which is.
Right. We talked about how
In the beginning.
that this could potentially require the village to spend fund balance or reallocate your budget lines to pay for costs in excess of the monies authorized under the grant. And, we tried to get out of them some numbers as to like how much that could look like. They can't say for certain. And I said, I am anticipating some trustees potentially balking at blank check type of a thing. And so I would like to have contract language that authorizes the village to cancel the contract if the monies for the projects total, I think we said like 220,000. I think the grant's 20 or 200. So that would obligate 20,000 of additional funds. I think those are the numbers. And I told them, I can't guarantee to you what the trustees will want, but please at least get us an updated contract. It also is more explicit about the warranty and the process that they're going to take to preserve the existing warranty from the manufacturer of the roof membrane. And they were supposed to provide that sometime last week so we could look at it to get it included on the agenda. They've not done that. So,
And they were supposed to contact firms that do this testing to get what's the real price, estimates or whatever. We haven't heard anything.
we'll follow up with them.
Is there a time frame on this?
There is a time frame. The person from the state, whoever it is that's overseeing the funding, expressed some very serious concern about the delay in moving this forward.
So they were on the call as well.
Right. So to date, this is the 3-phase project, I think, Laura. We've done phases 1 and 2 to get reimbursement for 1 and 2. You have to finish everything, I think, or at least move it forward further at this point. And if you end up not meeting the grant requirements, then you won't get reimbursed for it's about $55,000 that has been spent in prior budget years. But so that's where you will have to make a decision as to whether or not you move forward with this project or not. And certainly, if you're already out 50 grand, it only takes 10 of general fund money to get back that 50 plus the project covered, right? But that's where I don't know what the excess costs will end up being. if it's possible, the project scope could be reduced so that the additional costs stay within the grant funding, but that would have to be approved by the funding agency. And we didn't have any assurance that that would be the case either. And in order to move it forward, we have to have a signed contract.
Which we don't have yet.
The only option we have.
We asked
that, and
if there's a structural analysis that shows the roof can't support it at all, then going to potentially a ground mounted system might be feasible, but that's something that the rep from the state had to explore.
Issues BFE +2.
right, yeah, we brought that up, that these things would be almost, you know, on a roof anyway, just.
You can park your car under it
But no
on hot
building.
days, Perfect.
There is a hotel I stayed at in Albany, just like that.
Yes, indeed. All right. Hopefully more to come on that.
We interrupted you, back to you.
Okay, thank you. So for the central fire station, I found a state grant program that we could apply for, up to $1 million for construction and renovation of the firehouse structure. I shared that with the mayor, the fire chief, the EMS chief, and Doug Weeks, who was working on these issues.
I wasn't aware of that. Thank you.
I can send you the information. The deadline is February 25th, and we would need to gather quotes and come up with some plan, for doing the kind of project.
How much match is there?
I don't know. There's no admin or management costs that would be covered if the grant was given. I don't know how much of a match there may be. Typically with the state, it could be 50-50 or.
But we need to know that before we approve writing that grant.
Sure. Well, I just saw that a grant was available, and I'm just passing information to the people that could look at it. So it's from the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, which is DISHES, and it's the Volunteer Fire Infrastructure and Response Equipment, the VFire Grant Program.
Emergency services.
Fabulous.
Came to council government to tell us that our fire department, since it's a municipal fire department, and the village or somebody can apply for this, and it's mostly to get stuff.
It's not
For
for
the
building
building,
repair.
it's more for equipment.
There's option one, which is for the construction for buildings and infrastructure, and option two is for equipment.
And he did say he contacted Eric and chiefs and told them, go research this, and county would maybe help us apply for something.
Yeah, they could do it for equipment, but they could also consider this for the building structure, which has been an identified need for a long time. So I just want them to be aware that this is a potential $1 million that they could use for equipment and building.
Sounds like a lot, that doesn't go far.
No, not really.
So the next thing is like the program for public information, which we've already covered, establishing, and other items. People have been asking me about where the wards are in the village. So there's 3 areas where the wards are designated in the charter, and there's 2 trustees residing in each ward, and then the mayor can be from any ward. And so for the first ward, that's south of Main Street. The second ward is north of Main Street and east of North Avenue. And the third ward is north of Main Street and west of North Avenue.
Right.
And
We all know that.
the Southern Tier 8 asked for a letter of support. They're seeking a grant for funding for themselves to be able to have their employees help municipalities in our area.
What is Southern Tier 8?
Southern Tier 8 is the Southern Tier Regional Board. They're the ones that assisted us in getting the grant for the non-agricultural, non-point source flooding mapping, and they help with water quality grants. They're assisting us with the Climate Smart Communities program. They assist us with the Climate Smart Communities grant submissions. They're heavily involved with a bunch of our activities.
So are they affiliated with the state of New York?
The Southern Tier 8 is a regional board, and they serve over communities that include 8 counties of the Southern Tier. So they're looking for a letter of support. So they have noticed a lack of capacity for project development, grant writing, grant administration, and grant administration in the communities in the 8 counties it serves. So they would create a regional shared services approach to fill some of these gaps. So they would apply to the New York State Department of State Local Government Efficiency Grant opportunity so that they can create a shared services regional grant management program. And they asked us for a letter of support from the mayor so that they can help us with our grants.
We already do that through the county, don't we?
So they're asking for a letter of support so that they can apply for a grant to help us and other communities
Apply for grants.
apply for grants.
They want to get a grant so they can help us apply
You
for
received
grants.
an email from them about this.
Yeah.
I mean, are they asking us to commit
Would you send
to
it to me?
using them?
No, they're not grant. They're just asking for support in their grant.
And we support them.
Oh, okay.
Is there a deadline by when they said they needed it?
They wanted it by
There always is.
Friday.
There always is.
If you didn't do it, then it's too late.
They didn't ask.
I sent it to you, but we must have missed it, and I'm
You
sorry.
sent it to me on Friday, I probably didn't do it.
And then, this is about signs for traffic noise, the jake brakes. I was contacted by a resident about the lack of progress in getting the signs up. So I'm gonna continue to look at that. What the village needs to do is investigate marking the placement of where we would like to place these signs so that the DOT people can check those sites out and make sure that the placement wouldn't block the viewing of any other signs or any driveway exiting views. And so we would have to place and flag those signs, determine like that number. There's a process to submit that to the DOT for their review and approval, ordering signs, and we need to get stickers for the back of the signs that has contact info in case they become damaged. So there's a big process ahead in getting any signs.
Did we ever decide what we wanted them to say or what they can say? So that's still to be determined.
The DOT said what the signs could look like. It wasn't like what
What they could look like or what they could say?
Say 90 decibels.
what they'd say, yeah.
It's more of a noise ordinance because jake brakes exceed that. We're not directly referencing the jake brakes.
Oh, of course, we can't do that, we know that.
Right. So it's just a sign that states the New York State traffic law for, like, that's 90 decibels or less. And so
Glad we passed a different.
we didn't pass a different law, but we could
We
get
kinda did.
signs.
Yeah, we did.
We passed a law that restricted the use of non-emergency air compression brakes.
Which has nothing to do with 90
Oh,
decibels.
is that what it is? I see. Okay.
But it is the cause of the traffic noise that creates the compression brakes. Or the compression brakes are the cause of most of the noise, it's a noise section of the law. So it's just talking about signs that address the issue, but it doesn't say the law directly on it, but,
Can I interrupt you again? Laura, can I interrupt?
sure.
This is one of our things that has gotten out of control, that we try to make it right, and it's getting way too complicated with the state and with what you can say to have any real effect at all.
Won't have any. But somebody keeps asking us about signs.
Of course, it's gonna be a problem.
Basically, unenforceable.
Only what that even means, and think of exhaust noise.
Well, you don't have a lot
There's already a law.
you don't have a law that restricts it based on.
Let's just see.
We don't even have some other thing like that.
And there's already a traffic law that says you can't. That's how they nail people for their, coffee can muffler and stuff.
It's just for publishing the law, it's already on the books of the New York State traffic law. So then the next thing, I ordered FEMA National Flood Insurance Program documents for the village office, the lobby, and for the Coburn Library. So it's like all the bulletins, pamphlets, reference materials, and the handouts and flyers that the general public can use. It gets us points for our program that we're in, and we can report it for our grant that we've completed this aspect of supplying.
TPI thing?
Yeah. We'll share that once they've arrived, we'll share that the bulletins are available from the library, like online and in person, so that people could pull them out. And we'd even put the hazard mitigation plan over there on file so that everybody can have access to look at it, because it's a lot of pertinent, localized, just to us information. And so when those arrive, I'd like to be notified. It should be
We pay for them?
No, they're free.
I like free.
Always
So that's it for me.
Sure.
Okay, we had an OHPC meeting on January 8th. We have a COA for 6264 North Ave Edition from Alex Duda. He is lovely to work with. We had an EMS meeting for exploring ideas for an EMS building with the county. That went really well. I mean, nothing concrete, of course, but just starting to get some ideas on what else can we do. And my sources say that Owego Free Academy graduation is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, June 18th.
Perfect.
So I think we are okay with Strawberry Fest. That's it for me. Thank you.
But they did change it last year a couple of times.
They did.
They did. So that's why they're saying tentatively, but it's from different people, because I know my sources.
You don't have people over there.
And thank you if you did it on purpose, and if you didn't do it on purpose, thank you anyways for saying that there's nothing concrete about the EMS building. I'd like to
Nothing
do some
concrete.
concrete things.
But it is worth exploring.
No.
The world of EMS has changed.
I just want
Yeah.
to say the concrete piece.
No concrete. Not yet.
Not yet.
We can hope.
The only thing I had to report was the grant for the cemetery that Julie got for us. Really appreciate it.
Down to me. A lot of meetings. One was the EMS with Team Tioga. That was good. Council government here last Thursday. Me and one other town supervisor.
Great.
Awesome turnout.
Oh, my.
I think they like the new leader.
It was cold.
It was cold, yes.
It's January, it's always cold.
I didn't receive a meeting notice.
But it's
Maybe
all
that's
supposed to be
what it
each
is.
mayor and town supervisor from all in Tax County. Yeah, it's true. Great. That's kind of normal. So we had that meeting with Buffalo Solar. I think go that well. A lot of stuff. That's all I got.
This doesn't affect this at all.
Oh, yes, so we did get a letter from DEC.
I don't like the last couple of lines in there.
Basically says, remember, there's contamination at the pit, and you better do what you're supposed to do.
It says that that they received a complaint or something, a spill. They received a complaint on their spill hotline about it. Maybe we could respond and supply the study that we got of the area that shows the information of what was.
Yeah, I want to show that letter to James, because I want to say that, like, maybe we called a complaint when we were doing the testing a long time ago.
That's what telling that we minimize the scope to avoid that, but then it follows up saying if we do any work there, we're to.
Which it's something that we already do.
Right.
You know, we know if you touch anything over there, you need
Yeah, so
And we may have called in that spill because we were over there digging and they found it.
And it's just like a old fill spill potentially from a vehicle that sat there,
Yeah.
or old fill that was brought in, was what was determined in that report that we got.
We did
It wasn't
bunch
a
of,
big
like,
area
testing around to
or a big
figure out,
problem.
like, we know where it is now.
This appears to be,
Yeah.
this appears to be just informational. It
Is
says,
where all the garbage trucks were going that were using our property to do that?
Kind of.
Yeah, there
it
was
says this
dumpsters
is
and cars
informational.
sitting there for
It
years.
says that there was something called in, and it says that the EC was informed, that's by us, that's under control. So this is not a,
Yeah, we have
Oh, I don't
done
like the last
testing that
line.
shows
What's
it's
that?
not a big problem.
I don't like the last line, it says if you do any work there, you must deal with whatever.
Yeah, which we already knew that.
Yeah.
if,
On the
if,
site,
if future work
contaminated
is to
soil.
occur on this site contaminated soil, and we're not gonna do any work on the site contaminated soil.
But it's something to share with.
I'm just saying, but
I just want to make sure DEC doesn't slap us, because they slap hard.
yeah,
Do it. So we will make sure we tell people we got that letter.
yeah. To adjourn.
Perfect.
Filibusters tonight, nothing like that.
Filibusters, are they? No, that's a.
That's David.
Filibusters